Fighters, this is a party that blocked land redistribution in parliament. Our people don't have land. When we said to parliament, let's take land and give to our people, it was the DA and the ANC led by Jacob Zuma that stopped the expropriation of land without compensation. Who are they to tell us that they can give us land now when they did not give us land when they were in power? It was the EFF that offered the ANC its numbers so that we can expropriate land without compensation. The cowards ran away. As a result, the people of Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Der, Nyanga, Langa, and everywhere else in the townships, our people do not have land. Fighters, we must unite to defeat the false narrative that the DA develops and service people everywhere else they govern. We saw them in Tshwane. They left Tshwane to be rotten. It took the EFF to go to Tshwane and clean it up after the DA. We want to do the same here in Cape Metro. We must remove them next year so that we can come in and clean up their mess, because the EFF cares for the black people. Comrades, while South Africa is growing at 0.58%, China has just recorded growth of 5% in the second quarter of the year. Africa as a continent is projected to grow by 3.9%. South Africa, on the other hand, continues to revise growth estimates downward, now reaching 1%. This is not just a number. It is evidence of an economy in permanent stagnation, an economy that is failing to respond to the crisis of unemployment, poverty, and underdevelopment. We have the highest level of unemployment in the world, particularly amongst young people. Yet we are being told by arrogant, racist bankers that the only way statistics collected by Statistics South Africa will be credible is when there is a white matriculant supervising black professionals. He sits in his office and says to himself, I think unemployment rate in South Africa is less than 10%, when in reality it's more than 43%. This is not only insulting, it is a continuation of a colonial logic that sees black intelligence as inferior and white approval as the only measure of credibility. We remain the most unequal society on earth, and this inequality is racial. It is the same inequality that defined apartheid, just dressed now in liberal terms. In Constantia and Clifton, people have access to clean water, private health care, private education, and security. In Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, and Philippi, people face daily power cuts, gang violence, overcrowded in schools, and clinics that run out of medication before lunch. Our old people are now refusing to go to the public hospitals, and when you ask them why, they tell you that we are going to die because hospitals do not have facilities. At the center of this dysfunction is the financialization of our economy. We have handed over the future of this country to a banking group, 6 banks that operate in the shadows, unaccountable to the people, yet more powerful than parliament. They influence decisions at the South African Reserve Bank. They dictate who can get a loan, who can open a bank account, who can own property, and who can access funding for a business. Despite being the majority consumers, black people have no influence over the banks. There are 28 registered banks, 30 cooperatives, and 76 life insurances in South Africa. None of them is controlled by black people. Yet, they are the very same institutions that determine whether we live in dignity or die in poverty. They decide whether we can get insurance for our homes, health, and lives. They decide whether we qualify for a loan to start a business or to send a child to university. These institutions are sitting on a balance sheet of over 12 trillion, and this 12 trillion is not being used to develop townships, not being used to build industries, not being used to invest in the rural economy. It is a wealth concentrated in the hands of a few, mostly white men, who use it to reproduce their privilege and deepen our poverty. Even worse, the very financial institutions are now targeting our strategic state-owned companies. They are leading the push for privatization, not through open sales, but through the back door. Instead of declaring that they are selling SOEs, the neoliberal coalition has adopted a strategy of defunding these entities, collapsing their operational capacity, and selling off what they call non-strategic assets. They have already started with Transnet. Our ports and rail infrastructure, built over more than a century, are being handed over to the private operators under the guise of efficiency. But this is not efficiency for the people. It is efficiency for profit. They've moved to privatize electricity generation at the expense of Eskom, fragmenting the energy system and exposing poor communities to price increases and unreliable services.